One of my favorite quotes is smart people know the correct answer. Brilliant people ask the correct question. Ask better questions is one of the ways to improve any area of your life, including cybersecurity. One of the biggest problems, though, in cybersecurity is people often only ask one question. When they're making business decisions, when they're deciding to move forward with a new project, they're deciding to add new servers or new systems, they're going to ask one question. What is the value or benefit? It's going to increase revenue. It's going to increase profitability. It's going to increase customers. Those are all good, valid reasons to make a decision. However, if you want to have effective, proper security, you need to ask additional questions. We need to ask a second question. The first question you're already asking, what is the value or benefit? But then you must stop and ask a second question. What is the risk or exposure? What is the impact by doing this? And then here's the golden question. Is the value and benefit worth the risk and exposure? Some cases it is, some cases it's not. And if you learn to ask those simple questions, what is the value and benefit? What is the risk and exposure? And is the value and benefit worth the risk and exposure? You're then going to start thinking and implementing cybersecurity into all of your decisions by asking better questions. I always get comments from folks going, Eric, you're probably going to tell us this is not secure. You're probably going to tell us we shouldn't do this. I said, no. Some people I will say yes, some people I'll say no, but it all comes down to this. Is the value and benefit worth the risk and exposure? Some companies might say yes, some companies might say no, and that will determine whether you do it. The problem is most companies and organizations and individuals are not asking the second question. They're only making decisions based on value and benefit, and that leaves you to be exposed to risks and vulnerabilities. And I always laugh because I love reading. And about a year ago, I read a lot of biographies and autobiographies about Warren Buffett. Now, Warren Buffett, a little bit of a slacker. I think he's only the 5th or 6th richest person in the world. He's not even number 1. I mean, come on. But he's in the top 10. But when he makes investment decisions, he always asks 2 questions. What is the upside? What is the downside? And how can we minimize the downside? Warren Buffett makes investment decisions always on minimizing the risk or exposure. This is why he doesn't invest in cybercurrency or Bitcoin. Yes, the upside is ridiculous. You can make 1,000% return, but you could lose everything overnight. So in his opinion, the downside is not worth that benefit, so he doesn't do it. So I sort of joke because as I'm reading this, I'm like, this is the same exact philosophy that I do and teach in cybersecurity. So I jokingly say that my approach to cybersecurity is endorsed by Warren Buffett, which we know isn't true. But the point is, always look at the upside, look at the downside, and say, how can you minimize the downside? If you want to implement proper security, it's simple. What is the value and benefit? What is the risk and exposure? If the value and benefit is worth the risk, do it. If the value and benefit is not worth the risk, don't do it. And if you just use those simple guidelines, you'll start making better, more secure decisions.